Say something that I've been wanting to say, and I wrote it down to read to you today. I've wasted so much of my time lately on social media trying to explain the history of the word Palestine to Zionists because they're claiming that Palestine never existed. May I remind everyone that all countries have had name changes throughout time. Really, what we call nations and people, everything is very arbitrary with that. The root name for Palestine is Peliset, and it comes from mid-12th century BC Egypt, around the time of Ramses II and III. It was thought that the Philistines were ancient Aegean invading sea people, which fits into the biblical narrative, but recent studies have found that the Philistines were actually an indigenous tribe who also lived there. You mean to say that the Bible isn't completely truthful? Shocking. In the 7th and 8th century BC, the Assyrians referred to the area as Palashtu, as a result of the Philistines' influence. As early as the 2nd century AD, in the Roman province of Judea, the Romans named it Syria Palestina, which basically meant Syrian Palestine. In the Hellenistic period of about 500 to 135 BC, the terms Palestine or Falastin were used during that time, not only to describe the area that the Philistines lived in, but the broader area, even spanning into what we today consider Jordan. Herodotus often refers to it as Palestine in his writings. My grandmother was born in the 1930s, and obviously she used the terms Falastin and Palestine before the creation of Israel. There are maps, coins, and sewer grates, all with the name of Palestine on them. And as we've learned, the name predates British Mandate Palestine. Now, I could go on here, and I could talk about the Ottoman Empire and other Arab nations that took over. And many times I've seen this narrative. I have a video that my aunt sent me that showed all these different empires and it not being called Palestine. But the truth is that different groups of people called it different things, and the indigenous people always had a name for it. I realize that all of this history was a waste of time. Why? Because Zionists are trying to use this information to say that Palestine never existed in order to justify the hostile takeover of Palestine in 1948 and the continued genocide up until today. This is all a deflection. They're trying to subjugate us and erase our existence to say that they're justified in killing our people and taking our homes away because it never existed anyway. This is a dangerous trap. I'm going to play devil's advocate here and say, okay, you're right. The use of the word Palestine never existed. There were people that lived on that land prior to 1948, and obviously they called it something. So even if it was called pizza before the creation of Israel, people still lived on the land of pizza, and it doesn't justify 75 years of occupation, imprisonment, displacement, and genocide. Point blank.